The film begins with the hero, John, whose house is situated in the middle of the jungle. John is sitting comfortably when suddenly, he hears a noise. Startled, he turns around and is shocked to see a group of enemies approaching. Realizing the danger, John quickly gets up and runs into his house. At the same time, John's father, who is asleep inside, also hears the commotion. He looks outside to assess the situation and is filled with fear. Despite his fear, John's father resolves to confront the enemies. He sets aside a glass of water for his wife before stepping out to face them, intending to recover a stolen bag. However, it is winter, and the enemies have taken all their warm clothes. John, dressed only in a t-shirt and shorts, begins shivering in the cold. He tries to move forward but, weak from hunger, collapses. Just as he is about to give up, he spots a small child nearby. The sight of the child fills John with newfound hope and determination. He stands up with courage and begins to follow the child. However, the child, frightened by John's approach, starts running. John chases after him, and the child runs into a nearby house, slamming the door shut behind him. John forces the door open and enters, finding an old man and the frightened child huddled inside. Both are shivering from the cold and terrified of John. But John has no intention of harming them, he only needs warm clothes. He quietly picks up what he needs and leaves. Following the enemy's footprints, he soon stumbles upon a horrifying sight, his father's remains. The enemies have eaten his father's flesh, leaving only bones behind. Heartbroken, John buries his father's bones and vows to take revenge. Determined, John follows the trail to a new location and spots a tent. He cautiously throws a stone at it to check for occupants. Once assured it's empty, he enters and finds a box, a match, a knife, and a whistle. He takes these items, knowing they'll come in handy later. However, as John continues his journey, he realizes he's lost his way. After wandering in circles, he climbs a tall tree to get a better view. From the treetop, he sees smoke rising in the distance. As he tries to climb down, he slips and falls, injuring his leg. The noise from his fall attracts wild dogs, whose barking grows louder as they approach. Injured and unable to run, John uses his wit. He gathers wood and starts a fire, using a burning stick to fend off the dogs. Frightened by the fire, the dogs retreat, and John survives the night. Exhausted, he falls asleep by the fire. The next morning, John continues his journey and notices blood flowing into a nearby river. Curious, he discovers a woman washing a bloodied knife. Realizing she might be one of the enemies, John quietly follows her to their hideout. Once she leaves, he sneaks in but notices a bell trap near the entrance. He carefully avoids it and finds his stolen bag inside. When he opens the bag, he discovers the medicine he needs is missing. Searching the house, he is caught off guard as the woman returns and attacks him. Despite his weakened state, John manages to overpower her, striking her with a large stone and killing her. He cleans up the evidence and hides the body. As John tries to leave, the enemies return, and he hides behind a tree. He notices the enemies have captured the same young boy he saw earlier. John quietly frees the boy, who initially screams in fear. The noise alerts the enemies, but John manages to escape. Inside the house, John finds a locked box. Certain it contains the medicine, he tries to break the lock but fails. Just then, the leader of the enemies arrives, and John hides under the house. The leader notices disturbed soil on the box and suspects an intruder. He orders his men to search the area. John waits until nightfall when the enemies are asleep. He sneaks into the camp, steals the key from the leader's neck, and opens the box, finding the medicine. In his haste to leave, he trips the bell trap, waking the enemies. They capture John, strip him of his warm clothes, and tie him to the ground, preparing to cook him. John notices the whistle nearby and blows it loudly, attracting the wild dogs. The enemies, scared of the dogs, flee. John uses the chaos to free himself and hide. The leader, however, sacrifices one of his men to distract the dogs and continues his pursuit of John. Exhausted, John rests by a tree but is ambushed by the leader. They engage in a fierce fight, and John ultimately kills the leader. With his revenge complete and the medicine secured, John returns home. However, he finds the door open and his wife missing. Believing she has been killed, he breaks down in despair. Suddenly, his wife appears, having survived her ordeal. The two embrace, overjoyed to be reunited. Their story of survival and resilience comes to an end.